See if this works. Let's see if I can share this. Okay, I guess this will have to work for now. Hey there guys, Music Fan here, how you guys doing? Haven't been online in quite a while. I think the last time I was here I posted a video of the brand new At the Drive-In, which was called Governed by Contagions. Still love that song, by the way. Anyway, the whole reason for this live stream video that I have going on right now is to kind of have a bit of a summary video summarizing all the events that has happened in this year of 2016. And what I mean by that is that I just don't mean about things that happened in the music industry, even though that will be touched upon in this live stream broadcast. But what I also would like to touch on is the cultural climate that this year has fallen into, including the 2016 election and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and the catastrophic loss of the Democratic Party in this election, and as well as kind of bring up the speed of all the various album releases this year that have come out. Unfortunately, because my time was so taken up by school and by my classes and by activities going on around me, I couldn't properly talk about all the various releases of different artists up until this point. So I'm only going to mention the ones that I remember now at this very moment here, because there were so many releases that came out this year, and I did not have the time, or if I did have the time, I did not have the memorization per se of knowing all these different releases, because there were so many. I did intend at one point to make a top 5, top 10 list of my favorite 5 or 10 favorite albums from this year, and I still intend on making that list. Definitely not by the end of this year, unfortunately, but possibly within the next couple of days, or maybe the next week, I should get some kind of list together and see which of these albums really hit me very hard in terms of the impact and the musicality and the significance. I believe I already have my number one pick of the entire year, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody as of yet right now. Wow. As you can tell, it's extremely windy where I'm at. There's super intense winds going on outside. Like the wind is literally hitting on, like smacking against my slide door. Cannot tell from those curtains over there behind are installed slide doors over there. Hopefully they don't break open. And anyways, but yeah, I've only had the proper time to listen. Sorry, there was a notification there. The proper time to listen to the whole thing. I do know my number one pick, though, of 2016, the number one album in my list, but I'm not going to spoil it for everybody because I'm not going to spoil it. You would have to wait until I eventually find the time and the space to put up my top 10 albums list of 2016. But anyways, let's get kind of started. Let's get this going. I know I ranted on for 5 minutes. It's going to be a long video. Yeah, this year started off in a very unusual way that I don't think we've really started this year in any kind of way than with the very first piece of what will turn out to be like a almost like a continuation of these unfortunate, sad, and tragic, and very mournful passings of these various celebrities and cultural icons of our day. The passing of David Bowie in the beginning of the year was just such a shock to not just myself, obviously, but to everyone, the music industry as a whole in general, and I mean, nobody saw it coming. I mean, with the release of Black Star, his 25th and final album, it was just such a shock to hear. You know, only 2 days before David Bowie actually died, releasing that album, and I have to be honest and admit that up until that point, I've always known about David Bowie. I've known about his influence in the music industry. I've known about his cultural impact of redefining fashion and redefining trends and even challenging the cultural status quo of his day. And he was a proponent of change. You know, he literally was a man that can, on a whim, in a way, can literally change his style. It can change his sound. It can change his look almost nearly within the span of a year or 2 years or however it took. He never felt content with staying in one box musically, stylistically. He was always an ever-changing figure, musically and in every sense of his career, whether it be music or acting or everything. And that much I knew about Bowie, but up until the release of Black Star and his eventual death, I never really had, my curiosity was not really piqued that much. I did know about Space Oddity, that track, and I knew about his association with Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails, of that band, and of how he was extremely influential with art rock, with rock and roll, R&B, disco, some electronic. I knew that he had his Berlin trilogy, with Brian Eno, and that legendary collaboration with like Lodger, Heroes, and Low. So I knew that particular association. I knew that he had an inspirational atmosphere to his persona, but apart from maybe a couple of songs or maybe some snippets of a few songs, I never really became interested to searching up his discography. Like, it wasn't something that I was compelled or felt interested to look in towards, up until, and I'll be honest here, up until he eventually died. And I of course made the video for David Bowie. And by the way, any video thing that I come in contact with in this video, I will leave on the I will leave a link on the description below once this live stream finishes. But to then suddenly hear David Bowie's passing was just such a what the heck kind of moment. I mean, to say that the world didn't see it coming is an understatement. It was literally just something, and on top of that, to hear that he was battling a severe form of liver cancer for the past 18 months of his life. Up until that point was just what hit it even harder was that he didn't tell the majority of his inner circle, of his production team, or even the band that was making the music with him. Nobody, very few personnel in his entourage did he ever tell that he was battling this cancer condition. And I believe only his manager, maybe a few other people, but more strictly, even more intimately with his manager, that he was suffering from liver cancer, and that he didn't want anybody else to know. He wanted to continue working as usual, creating this project called Black Star. And listening to Black Star for the first time after I learned of David Bowie's passing was just such it was so odd, because it was the first David Bowie album that I truly came to listen to from like front to back, literally from beginning to end. Again, I bring up that even though I knew Bowie's iconic status in the music sphere, my curiosity to listen to his discography just was not that peaked up. It just wasn't. I just never really got around to listening to any of his albums in depth and in just absorbing all the music that was recorded on it. Like it just wasn't. And I just no. But then afterwards, listening to Black Star and analyzing the lyrical writing of that album, like analyzing the music of that album, it just stunned me beyond belief. Like, I mean, I think of the track, "'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore," and initially when I first heard that song, I kept reading the lyrics, and I kept thinking that Bowie was thinking about maybe a woman who was treating him very wrong, but then analyzing the lyrics further, like months later, I would have to say like maybe 2-3 months ago, the whore he was referring to was his cancer. You know, man, she punched me like a dude. The she, that connotation, which he kind of aims it directly at the condition he was suffering, that of any sort of fate that I would end up in, it had to be battling this cancer, this form of cancer, and just learning that reversal of the lyric in that song in particular just shot straight to the gut, straight into my heart when I learned that, and it was just what. And the title track to that record too. At first I was kind of a bit like, thinking of like, when is this track gonna get going? But I've listened to it enough times to really absorb that track and just that song in and of itself having a lot of multiple segments in the same track kind of starts off with this very weird, odd sounding, like I definitely hear a guitar, this very strange guitar progression melody in the beginning, and Bowie's voice kind of like sounding very with this strange, weird vocal effect that kind of gives off a very strange, weird vibe. And the second track, like I mentioned before, is lyrically just unsettling and also just fun. Also, too, the song to that is just also fun sounding. It has this really upbeat character to the song. The third song, Lazarus, was just I felt kind of was really heartbreaking to hear. Especially the opening line, "Look up here, I'm in heaven. I've got scars that can't be seen." And to know that kind of predates with, the time that he recorded it to his eventual passing, and just like that's just speechless. I can't even bring myself to even talk about, because I'm talking right now, but that song in particular, the lyrics are just so eerily prophetic, prophetic. And other tracks here too, which are just equally unsettling, like the next track, "Sue," or "Seasons in a Crime," or "Girl Loves Me." Sue especially having this very intense cacophony. Sorry, just hold on a bit of a second. Hello there, sorry about that. I hate to cut this live stream short, but I'm kind of worried about my slide door. It seems to be kind of looking a bit weird. So I'm just going to cut this a little bit short. Really sorry about this, but we're kind of me and my family are kind of getting ready to go to my uncle's to celebrate New Year's. So I still intend on continuing this stream, but there are just some things I have to get with, So hope you guys have a fantastic New Year's celebration, and see you guys in 2017. I hope it's a much better year than 2016, because 2016 had some great, fantastic moments in the year, but with all the celebrity deaths and the election, it just didn't pan out for the best. Maybe not, but it's not for me to say. Anyway, I hate to cut this short, but I have to go. I will make another one like this in the next following couple of days. I have a lot more time, so yeah. Take care, guys. Really, really take care, because it's getting really ugly out there. And yeah, have a happy new year, Mr. Music Fan 2017. Hopefully kicks 2016 in the rear. See you guys later.